Hey everybody, what's up? This video I kind of label the comeback because I got pretty low in chips and managed to come back into the game. This guy starts out pretty tight and then really loosens up. I think he's got a few temper issues. When he loses some pots, he gets pretty aggressive. So limping as usual. He min raises me, and I've expressed my views about the min raise before. I'm getting 3-1 on the immediate call, and the rest of his stack is implied odds, which would make it 75-1. So therefore, I'm obviously calling. Don't pick up anything on the flop. If he bets this, he's obviously going to take it down. And he checks. Not really sure what he's on at the moment. The 10 on the turn. He's just betting 20. I mean, I could be behind, but he is giving me 5-1 to call, which I do. The 10 on the river, and he bets half pot. I'm a little bit worried at this stage. What I should do is raise and be prepared to fold. It does look like he's flopped a good hand and slow played it. But on the other hand, you know, it's early in the match, and I've just taken a conservative option and chosen just to call. And you can see that he's min raised on ace jack, so at this stage his min raise looks like it's a decent hand, and then he slow played it, which is pretty standard when you flop top 2, and then I hit runner, but he made it cheap enough, so there you go. Alright, the next hand he folds, so now he's looking pretty tight so far. Only a min raise on ace jack and folding the next hand. Here I limp, and once he checks against players who are appearing to be tight, I'm always going to be stabbing at pretty much any board they check. They check, I bet. It's an automatic response, really. Check, bet, check, bet. So he's checked, I bet, take down the pot, and that's 40 chips that he didn't want, but I did want. Here he raises 4x. At these blind levels, I'm calling my pocket pair, trying to hit a set, of course. And it's a low flop, which I think should be good for me because his raise there would normally be high cards or a pair. If it's high cards, he's now missed. And he bets pot, which I call, and the turn is a 9. Wouldn't think that's going to help him. I check it, and he bets 120, and I'm really not sure what to do here. Should I be raising him and pushing him off? Is he trying to block me? Should I be folding because I'm beat? I choose just a flat and king on the river, check it, and he makes a pretty, I mean, that bet looks like value. 300 into this pot is just saying, please call me because I want to take 300 chips off you. And now I decide I'm beat. Not sure if I played that well or not. So it was a tricky spot with 2 overs, but him raising pre-flop. So I'm giving it up and, you know, live to fight another day there. Looks like for sure on the river I was beat. Alright, he checks, I bet, automatic response, I take down the pot. And here he folds, so he's being tight, but when he, that sort of, the hand he raised to 80, that was a little bit aggressive, so therefore maybe I'd label him perhaps as tight aggressive. Here he raises 3x, and I make a really loose call, and it's a very dry flop. I mean, there's 2 spades, I admit, but not the sort of flop that I would think would hit his raising range. Furthermore, he checks. Now, he did check on the ace-jack board when he had something, but I just don't think this flop's going to hit him very often, remembering also that he fired out on the low flop when he'd raised to 80. So I'm going to try and take a stab here, which I do, and get called. The 10 on the turn, not a great card, but not a terrible card. I mean, I would think a queen, king, or ace would certainly be a worse card to see at this stage. So when he checks, I'm going to make one more stab, fire the second barrel, 180 into the 280 pot, and I pick it up. So that's nice, I'm back in the match. Here he limps, and I decide just to test him with a raise. So I raise it to 80, and he immediately min 4 bets me, or 3 bets me, isn't it? 3 bets. This is a worrying sign. People will be doing this often with the monster. I'm calling because I'm getting good odds, but I'm not happy here. Hitting top pair, I'm reasonably happy, but if he's got ace queen king, queen, kings or aces, then I'm probably going to lose my whole stack if I'm not careful. So he bets pot, can't fold top pair here. I probably should shove or fold at this stage. I guess really I should be folding if I believe him, but flat calling's not so nice. If an ace or a king comes on the turn, what am I going to do? That's basically the question. And I do make the decision to flat call, hoping that a low card will come, and I'll be able to tell from his bet sizing how I should be playing the rest of the hand out. Ace comes, I check. Luckily he checks behind. Now this means that he might have hit that ace, or he might have some sort of under pair hand. On the river, the 4 is a pretty good card because now I can block him with a bet, and that should really slow him down. So I bet 160 on the river, get called, and he had 10-10. Really, he played that pretty poorly. His biggest error was just the min raise when I had 4x'd him. He should have been making a bigger raise there pre-flop and pushing me out of the hand, and that cost him quite dearly. Alright, limping, and he checks. I check behind. Don't know why I didn't bet that. I guess it was a little bit sort of worried that he was going to get aggressive after losing that last hand. Normally I'd be betting in that spot. And the board's gone pretty horribly. I do have some showdown value, and luckily pick it up. Just should have bet on the flop. I think that's an error, a clear error not betting there. Alright, he min raises. I know that's a good hand from past experience, or it has been so far. Just flatting, and that's just a horrific flop. And he bets pot. So he seems to be betting pot here, whether he's hit or not. That seems to be his modus operandi. No sort of value bets, it's just pot. And here comes pot again. Bottom pair, no draw. Let that one go. And he's 3xing. I choose to call. And this is the sort of flop that I wouldn't expect him to hit when he bets 120, although I have to give it up. I would like to check raise him there, but that's a pretty big play and no reason to make it at this stage. So limping again, and he's betting pot again. He's really increased his aggression since he took that beat. And I'm limping. He checks, I bet, and pick up the pot, which is what I should have done a few hands ago, but I won that one anyway, luckily. And here he limps. No need for me to get aggressive. I do know that he can limp a good hand with that 10-10, so there's not much value on me raising pre-flop on junk, really. I check this out of position and let him take it down. Alright, limping. And he bets pot. He's really increased his aggression, so let him have that. And now he's raising 3x. Not going to compete with a 5-2 suited. And we have a chip lead, though it is getting dwindled a little bit faster than I'd like. And now we've picked up a nice little flush draw on the overcard. This time he doesn't bet, and I make a 60 bet here, really just to take it down here and now, thinking that he might be weak, and that works. I mean, a flush draw on the overcard is not the nuts. Alrighty, 3x's. It's been getting a little aggressive pre. I could try, a shove is conceivable, but I think I'm just going to flat call and see what lands. And not a nice flop. Checking on the turn's a bit weak. I think I should have fired there, and now he fires, sort of taking advantage of my weakness. If I fired, I might have got him to call me, and sort of on worse hands like ace 10, ace 8, ace 7, ace 6, that sort of thing, or even king queen. Whereas if I check and show weakness 2 times, he just bets and takes the pot. So maybe me firing out was best there. Alright, limping. Take a stab. Take it down. So he's happy to give up those pots. He seems to be either in tight mode or aggressive mode. And I take another one down. That last one, I didn't flop a high enough pair to trap. He's been betting out a lot of pots, but I don't want to trap in that spot. If I flop the king, I might trap him. And folding to his raise there. Once again, so his aggression level's really increased. And now that that's happened, I need to adjust by sort of limping semi-good hands, certainly not raising them, hoping he'll do the raising for me. It's an interesting spot. 2 overcards and a flush draw, but not a good flush draw. And I check it. sort of just pot control. It's not the sort of board that I'll push him off that often, and luckily I'm good just with my high cards. Probably that check was a bit weak, I don't know. He's not really that aggressive post-flop. Here I'm min-raising, trying to get in cheap and actually take down the sort of board, or take down the hand pre-flop. And I'm min-raising really because he's getting a little bit aggressive pre-flop and I'm trying to control him. And folding my 8-2. He limps, and that's a good flop. Fire out, get called. Lovely turn. Just another 30 here, and he raises me. So this sort of min-raise looks a little bit like a probing sort of min-raise. And I'm just going to flat it to try and disguise the strength of my hand. Check, and when he bets 90, he's kind of fallen for the trap, and now he gets the re-raise, which he folds to. So I think he was putting a little number on me there, I suspect. Alright, top pair again. This time I make a bet, take it down. Could have trapped him, I guess. And here we come to an interesting spot. He's 3xing me pre. I flat, and now he bets pot. Right, first things first, this flop is not the sort of flop that I would expect him to hit very often if he has raised pre-flop on any sort of hand. Secondly, obviously I've got the overcard and the flush draw. If he does have one pair, I'm 40%. There's 360 chips in there. I still think I might have some fold equity. I'm going to shove this. I shove it, and unfortunately he calls on middle pair. That sucked. So he'd raised on junk, which is why my sort of calculations of his pre-flop range didn't really work out. I've still got outs, and I miss both of them. So now I've gone from chip lead to behind, which kind of sucks, but never mind. Alright, and he's raising, getting much more aggressive pre-flop, which is why I limped this. I think he might be about to raise, and then I can shove on him, and he doesn't. And I've picked up 2 overs and a draw, just being a little passive. I'd love to see a jack now. I might even felt him if he's got a 9. And we don't, and he bets, and that's that. So I didn't lose much with my ace-king hand there, and I guess that's one of the main things sometimes. Losing the least when you're not winning the hand. Min-raise to control, get called, and just check behind. I've got the draw here. If I hit it, it's unlikely that he'll put me on a 5. And now I get all sort of conservative, and he wins the pot. I guess I should have bet really. A little bit weak there, and he's getting very aggressive pre now, raising quite a lot. And here we've hit top pair, but I bet because it's a bit of a drawy board with 2 clubs and the possible sort of inside straight popping up if a queen or a king comes. He calls, and now I'm betting aggressively on the turn, and he gives it up. Alright, he limps, and I check behind. Now I take a stab at this, not looking weak, taking a real sort of pot-sized stab. Last time I looked weak, he made a play at me, and I take that one down. So that sort of larger bet I felt was necessary there. Alright, limping my 7-8, and we've hit the nuts. Whoopee. And I just try a little bit. Please call. And he folds. Just thinking about that, if I check, I'm not often going to get many chips anyway. He's got to have a piece of that or a draw, really, for me to get anything there. So I'm happy with my bet, even though it didn't work. Alright, he folds. I also fold my 6-2. He's raising, and he's raising quite a lot. Now I try a 3x to try and pick up the blinds, and that works. And queen 10 I'm going to call, and I've hit middle pair. And I think I'm calling this. Now I've got middle pair and a draw. I don't think I can fold. And that's a nice card, I think, as long as he doesn't have a flush or ace 10. I shove it, and he folds. A little bit greedy there. What's he really going to call me on? Probably only a split or a better hand. I should have bet about 300. That was pretty poor. That was a clear error, I think. Alright, he raises 3x. I call on my jack 10. And here I've got to really sort of probably shove or fold, and now he bets a second barrel, and that's ugly. I've got to give it up now. So ugly. Calling him ace-3 suited, picking up a nice piece of the flop. Now I'm trying to block him, and that works. If he's got high cards, it's pretty hard for him to call there, and I want to make him pay in case he's got one club. So better to bet there than not, I felt. I can be representing any of those low cards which he can't beat a lot of the time. Alright, ace-10, limping. Just flat this, and what a lovely flop it is. He checks, king on the turn, and pot from him. Yuck. Maybe I should have bet on the flop, but who knows. Alright, so we've hit something here. Take a stab and take the pot down. And 7-2, the hammer. I fire out, trying to take this down, and that works. You've got ace-queen, I'm limping, and he raises, and I'm shoving. No more flat calling like I did with my ace-10. Didn't work out too well. And I know his raising range is really wide, so, I'm just going to attack him there. And if he's calling, good luck to him, which he doesn't. He folds the next one, and we've hit middle pair here, and I try putting a move on him, and as long as an 8 doesn't come, or a king or a jack, I mean he's probably on a jack here is what I think. I bet probably a little bit under there. That was an error. I priced him into calling, and horrible jack. I know I'm beaten now, and yes, he had the jack and the 5, so sort of probably should have bet more on the turn, but I think I would have ended up losing more anyway against this guy. Alright, take a stab at that, get called, have to make up my mind, am I ahead or not? Has he got a flush draw? And betting a little bit light really, but I get the fold. I think my turn bets are a little bit light, a little bit undersized in hindsight. Alright, we're at the 25-50 level. He 3x's here. I call and I miss. Should probably attack the flop. That's a good card you would think. Just going to call and see what comes on the river, and it's a horrible ace of hearts. This is just a terrible spot now. If he's got 10 jack, I'm dead. If he's got a heart flush, I'm dead. I should think about folding it, but alright, I'll call. And he flopped the nuts and slow played it, and that hurt him. He's also raising on junk, isn't he? But his junk is better than my junk at the moment. Bet here, he's limped, probably doesn't have any of that. And, I'm in the match. That's all I can say. So here I've hit bottom pair, I get called. Good chance he's on some sort of draw on this board. Trying to control him. And once again, just trying to block him. Make him call if he's got a queen or a 9. And only raise if he's actually got the jack or the straight or the flush, which he does. And my 2 pair, that was a nice little pot there. Pretty loose call from him too. Min raise to control, and don't bother stabbing at this board. Should have been more aggressive there and wasn't really. That's the story of that. I have been pretty passive into a lot of these pots, which I think I could have taken down with a bet. Alright, 3xing, picking up a pot. Really, my idea is that at the start, what I'm trying to do is set this guy up. When the blinds get bigger, what I'm trying to do is basically steal my fair share of blinds and also trap him. So here he limps, stab at the paired board, get called. Ace is pretty much a terrible card for me. And now I've got to check it down, and he actually had the queen, so fair enough. Good play to him. Raising to pick up the blinds. Just worried that if I raise smaller, which I normally would, I'm going to get called. And fold that. Fold that. And take a steal there to try and keep myself in it. And folding. Notice that I'm not limping so much now. I'm either raising, I do limp occasionally, but basically I'm raising most of my hands, trying to pick up the blinds, and there he 3-bets me. Oops, never mind. Getting a lot more aggressive at this level against a guy who's tight aggressive when the blinds are big. Here I should definitely think about shipping it, but I just decided to flat. Maybe I'll hit a flop. I've missed a lot of flops in this game, and yuck, he bets pot. All yours, sir. raising to try and take the blinds, and just checking because I might hit the nuts. And I don't, but I think that's probably going to be good enough. Am I getting called by anything worse? Not very often. I'll check this one down. Alright. Pocket sixes, he folds. And once again raising, getting called. Nice flop this time. And I just take that down with a bet. Don't want to slow play that because, you know, the king, the jack, the 8, any of those cards could absolutely kill me. And he's raising. Good for him. And I'm folding. So most of the time I'm either folding or raising. Very rarely limping. Take a stab because he's limped and he folds. So this donking out into pots that he's limped and high cards, when high cards come, that works pretty well. Fold this, and he's just limped here. This is a nice flop. I've got my gut shot, I've got my overcard and a flush draw. I bet he raises me. This is tricky. If I shove here and he's got one pair, basically I have no fold equity. There's no way he's going to fold a 7 or even a 4 here. I think he's on a 7. I've got no fold equity here. So what I'm going to do is try and hit either my ace, my gut shot, or my diamond on the turn, and then get the chips in when I'm ahead. And if I don't hit, I'll see how much he bets. I check here once I hit my ace. That's got to be a beautiful card. I'm thinking he bets pot. I shove, get called on 8-7. I'm a long way ahead. Obviously, there's 3 8s, but one of them's a diamond, so he's only got 2 8 outs, and he's got 2 7 outs, so 4 outs. That puts me pretty close to more than a 10-1 favorite in this spot. And the river is pretty much the most horrible river I could think of. One of the last 7s. Ugh. I'm down to 30 chips. He's got 29.70. But don't worry, I have a plan. And the plan is to suck out horribly until I can get back into the match. So I blinded in, king on the river, up to 60 chips, you beauty. Obviously these are going in as my big blind again, and I'm absolutely dominated here. King 6 to jack 6, should be match over, but no, we bink a jack, how lovely. So now I've decided to run hot apparently. Shove on my ace king, get called, and catch an ace on the flop. I'm up to 240. Lovely. He raises, ace 9, only one option here, shove. I'm pretty much shoving any 2 cards. Get called, dominate him, and hold with an ace on the flop. Looking good. Ace queen, I just shove it, hoping he'll sort of go with the program and call, which he doesn't. Ace 10, getting a run of nice cards here. That's Shovsky, and he folds. Queen 8, suited. I shove it, I get called by a hand which absolutely dominates me, and of course I bink on the flop. So I've gone from 30 chips, and in just a few hands up to 1200, and now he's shoving all in pre-flop. I suspect he's a little bit upset. So now all I need to do is catch some cards. Shove from him, he's really upset. Not going to limp my 7-6 because I know if I do a shove, pocket 9s, you beauty. Shove from Mr. Slightly Upset, snap that off. And he's got pocket 4s, only 2 outs for him, apart from obviously flush or straight outs. And lovely, I've gone from 30 chips to 2000, and no point limping because I know he's going to shove. Ace 2, not quite good enough. And you can see how upset he is. I mean, the first hand that I limp in probably the last 5 or 6, and insta shove. Obviously I'm calling this with 9-9, and he's only got really the jack outs, I would hope. And he could catch a 5 here or a jack, so 7 outs, and he misses, game over. That was a pretty incredible comeback where I sucked out about 3 times in a row and held several times in a row. But really, if you go back, I'll just pop back to this hand here. There's no need for him to shove on jack 3. He's got a 900 stack. He's in the game. The blinds are not that high, and that was just pure bad temper, and that cost him the match. I mean, he should be happy enough that he sucked out after getting it in on the turn with his sort of 4 outs, but no, he's getting all grumpy, and that's lost in the match. So I hope you've enjoyed this one. And until the next one, I really do hope that you run good.